Abbott Elementary, Season 4, Episode 4, Costume Contest, and Season 4, Episode 5, Dad Fight are over. But class is here in session here on Recap Kickback. It's me, your host, Chappell, and we are back again to talk about another 2 episodes of Abbott Elementary. And I am very excited to talk about these two because these were some bangers as usual. And with me, again, the principal of this podcast, who hates a head-ass couple's costume, it's Gia Worthy.
Oh, it is so good to be back, Chappell. Would you be Mr. DNA or the fly trapped in amber, mosquito trapped in amber? I apologize.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. Emo Jimmy Butler. Mr.
Yes.
Johnson had the costume of a lifetime. I'm so jealous I didn't think of that. I could have killed that costume. And next year, given no ridiculous current events that's going to change my mind, I might be pulling that one out for next year because there were some bangers in this episode from the costume contest for sure. Gia, what about you? What is your head ass costume contest submission of choice here?
Ooh, the head ass or just like the best couple or the best costume in general of this episode?
Do your thing. What was your best costume this episode?
Okay, well, the obvious one is Ava as Blade.
Ava as Blade.
Blades vampires, hates taxes, the works.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have to say, if I had to pick one costume that was my favorite this episode, it was Andrew as the goat.
Yes.
Like when he brought up the boxing gloves and was like, the goat. I'm like, that's really good. That's incredible. Incredible work from a child.
Yeah, he ate Gregory up, right? I mean, it is what it is. So yes, Abbott Elementary, we got 2 more episodes. We got a costume contest. We got a fight to talk about. And we just wanted to thank everybody for coming here and checking us out weekly here on Abbott Elementary, a post show recap on Recap Kickback. Also the Abbott Elementary Kickback. I don't know what I'm calling this anymore. We're just vibing here on Recap Kickback every week. G and I are bringing you more Abbott coverage, but we got so much more going on as well. Scott joined me and Mari this week on Recap Kickback as well. So make sure you check that out when that episode's available. And we got some holiday content coming your way soon. Got some special guests coming. So much going on. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Click like here on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, youtube.com/@recapkickback, or subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast, recapkickback.com/subscribe, so you can keep up with all the Abbott updates. Gia, I've been seeing some comments. I've been seeing some tweets where people are saying, hey, I cannot wait to hear Chappell and Gia talk about these 2 episodes. Shout out to Michael J. Clark for giving us a shout out as well. Gia, I love these episodes so much. The costume contest was great, but Dad Fight just had I was in tears, Gia. What did you think about these pair?
I loved these episodes. I'm always going to love a Halloween episode, okay? They cannot steer me wrong on Halloween. It was so good. It was great. It was also just fun to see Janine and Gregory be a head-ass couple and everybody give them shit for it because that's just what they do. You know, it's been too long. They've had it too good for too long, which was 3 episodes. So it's time for them to deal with that, to have a reckoning, I will say.
We got to believe it's time.
Dad Fight gave me the duo that I didn't know I needed here, which was Tariq and Gregory.
Ooh,
Tariq is going to wear Gregory down and be friends with him by the end of whether Gregory likes it or not. But like, he is ready. He is ready for that friendship to form. And I think the audience deserves it after the week we have had.
Yeah, these were the perfect episodes to come back from the week we had in the world, and so
the very excited decision of Sexiest Man Alive.
Yeah. What the hell, man? They're just giving it to anybody these days. I'm gonna submit myself next year. I'll see what happens. Because
Randall Park was right there if we were going with a gym helper. I'm just saying.
Listen, they took the lesser of the gyms here, but we are going to talk about the better decisions of the week from Abbott Elementary. And I want to start off with, of course, the costume contest. Now, so many storylines to choose from, but I really loved the Barbara storyline. She wants to bob for apples. It's a whole thing. And I don't know. Barbara seems like she's really leaning into the traditions. She's been doing Halloween a certain way for so long, and she just can't fathom the fact that maybe other people aren't really into those traditions. But I agree with every single person not named Barbara in this episode. I just don't see the appeal of bobbing for apples, Gia. It does seem kind of nasty.
I feel like post-COVID Halloween is just, like we've been through a lot as a nation these past few years. And I think bobbing for apples maybe has the time and place, but in an elementary school that just came down from a ringworm epidemic in there.
Yeah.
I get it. I get the point here. And I was on Barbara's side about the cupcake situation with making sure. I just don't think Barbara has it in her to give the children razor blade cupcakes. I agree with her on that end, but bobbing for apples, it's just not the hill I want to die on.
Yeah, the PTA has basically come together and said, we're not doing this anymore. But Barbara is still a little stuck in her ways. I know you don't think Barbara got that dog in her to put no razor blades in some cupcakes, but what about the peanuts? Like nowadays, kids these days be having allergic reactions. They have dietary restrictions. I remember when I was younger, there would be a few kids with dietary restrictions.
Yeah.
But now it seems like, nah, you can't come in here and just give kids anything. A lot of parents aren't letting their kids eat real sugar, gluten. There's so many different things that I personally, when I'm dealing with students, y'all buy whatever y'all want. I'm not buying y'all. Yeah. I'm not making nothing for sure. That like y'all ain't gonna accuse me of poisoning your kids. So I wasn't even shocked that they pushed back against the cupcakes.
I know. I wasn't shocked by it, but I think, and this does come a little bit of privilege. I do not have a peanut allergy or gluten allergy. I was blessed. And I think Barbara would probably say something similar. God wanted her to enjoy all these things. Did she want all the kids to not have peanut allergies? Listen, she's got to take it up with him. But sometimes just some people are blessed and we have to deal with that. However, I do think that for me particular, first of all, who puts nuts in cupcakes? Like that is sociopath. We have bigger problems if someone's putting nuts in cupcakes, but like unforgivable in my opinion.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Why was that in there?
It completely goes against everything I know and love about a cupcake. However, I think like a lot of these things are easily fixable where it's like, okay, if you have a child with a gluten allergy, well, maybe that family can make a gluten-free snack, or you encourage other people, because teachers send out little notes to parents like every like week or bi-weekly or something like that. Just let them know we encourage you to put in some like gluten-free stuff. If it was something like this child has a peanut allergy and if they are in the same room as peanuts, they go into anaphylactic shock. Okay, they can have that one. I will concede. I will not be dying on the peanut thing. And I don't want students dying on me with peanut allergies either. So it's just like, stay in communication about it. But life gets busy and sometimes that doesn't always happen. So it's just nothing for anybody.
Right. And Barbara is going to try to shift with some of the traditions as well. We see that they're going to do some reading of ghost stories and for the students in the library. And Barbara makes a pretty interesting comment about our girl Cree. She says, yeah, Roz doesn't know how to do any voices. And I'm just like, Barb, you gotta let this go, man.
She's still a little mad that Roz outshined her.
Just a little salty. It's giving jealousy, Barb. You gotta let Cree shine. Cree Summer. I thought she was just like a guest on Abbott, but I don't know, Gia. It's feeling like she's making herself comfortable. Now. Right. What happens next season when she's on the main cast? What are we doing, Gia?
We're celebrating.
We're celebrating the party.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is the only show I'm going to care about at that point. Like Survivor 50 Who? I'm sorry. Cree Summers is a regular on Abbott Elementary.
Yeah. I was so happy to see her here.
I have a question for you because I was thinking about this. I knew we were podcasting today, so I thought about this as I was driving to work today. We have a lot of Survivor contestants that are like that live in Philly, and we're very pro Philly, like in their, intro packages and stuff like if we have a Survivor Philly contestant, not the LRG Survivor Philly, but a Survivor alum that it hails from Philadelphia, they will let you know about it, right? They're very proud of that fact. But if you had to pick a Survivor Philly player from Philly to be a guest star in Abbott Elementary, who would you pick and what would their role be?
And why is his name Bryce Isaiah? And
right.
like it's Bryce. It's Bryce. You get Bryce on the show. I'm in. I'm all in. Bryce can do whatever he wants.
I had an amazing, and Bryce is a social worker, right? Or was a social worker? Yeah. So like guidance counselor right there. Like boom.
Right there.
I had the perfect cast I had the perfect like vision in my head when I was driving. You know what we haven't had yet? A gym teacher. You know who needs to be the gym teacher?
Who?
Jervis Peterson.
Hey!
Yes, right? Can you just picture it? Just see,
see the vision. Yes. We should send an email. I'm gonna add this to the long email that we're gonna send Quinta when we're demanding guest stars to come on to our podcast. Obviously, Cree, obviously Zach. We got so many people that we need to come on here. Yep. And then since we're asking for something, I will give her that suggestion as well. Like, hey, make sure you get Bryce and Jervis on. Maybe even Wendell. He can come, I guess. But like get the heavy hitters.
Okay, but can you imagine though, like for Wendell, because obviously we need to fit in Wendell. He's our Philly winner, right?
He is.
Like we could have him either come in as like a carpenter or something that like that's his job anyway, but also we could just have him come on as himself because Ava's a Survivor fan, so she knows that there is a Black Philly winner of Survivor. Yeah. So if any of the Survivor winners are going to come as themselves to do like a guest speaking role or have him come to Fade or something like that, it's going to be Wendell.
Yeah. Let's put a pin in that. Let's see if we can get our emails heard because I'd be happy with the Wendell name drop. If Ava was just like, "Ooh, I'm going to go meet Wendell from Survivor Philly," I'd be like, "That's good enough for me." Let's hold on to that. I think we're on to something.
I'm just saying, we like this. This was my driving thought today, and I think we have something kind of incredible on our hands. So like Wendell, Bryce, Jervis, if you have a moment, contact your agents that I assume you have and let them know that like you need to get on the show for our sake, if nothing else. It's for the children, but it's for us really as the children.
Yeah. As the children. So Barbara is still pushing the bobbing for apples because the ghost stories aren't just hitting like they are. And she tells the kids, all right, this is Halloween. It's a time for deceit. And I said, wait, since when? Since when? I understand the whole trick or treat notion, but Barbara's basically saying it's Halloween, so we finna do whatever your parents said not to do, and y'all gonna lie to them about it. And I was not expecting this from her. I'm sorry, Gia. She's a church lady, but Barbara sometimes lets her guard down whenever it suits her.
She gave the whole church choir ringworm. There is no one on this. They deserved it. They did deserve it. We saw that episode where they were being mean to her. They deserve it. But also, if there is somebody that is going to get their lick back, it is Barbara. Like, I thought Ava was the pettiest person on this main cast. I was wrong. It's Barbara, up miles ahead.
Yeah, one of the kids had to step in and say, "Ma'am, we just got over ringworm." And I was like, "Look, they're not wrong." So she goes in, she buys for apples for herself, and she looks absolutely miserable. The kids are like, "Hey, we never wanted to do this. None of them want to do this." And so she's really struggling, obviously, with some of the changes here. Another thing that catches Barbara off guard is that she's not aware that little kids don't watch The Wheel. How did you feel about Barbara's connection with Wheel of Fortune and her interesting tie to Pat Sajak? Because I'm with everybody else. Pat Sajak can go. He can go to hell.
I loved the costume, I will say. I love the costume, and I love that Jacob did not know about maybe some of the unpleasant facts that we know about Pat Sajak. However, it was great recurring theme. I agree, though, you got to keep the wheel. It's just the craftsmanship in it was remarkable. I was surprised that people didn't know who Pat Sajak was. Wheel for it. I just feel like that's like a show that you're born knowing exists, like that in Jeopardy. Like we're raising a generation that doesn't know who Alex Trebek is. We are losing recipes.
We are, and you know what? Honestly, I agree with you 1,000% because when I was about that age, that's when I really started to know Wheel of Fortune. But that's because, I had a praying grandmother who let me stay at her house during the day while she was doing whatever her things were. And so watch Wheel of Fortune, you watch The Price is Right, you watch Jeopardy, you watch Supermarket Sweep. Not to age myself, but I was watching the daytime TV shows.
That would be the thing that concerns me more, because if your parents are not letting you watch Price is Right when you are homesick, that is a choice to be made, because that is culture right there. Like, Price is Right is an American institution. I would have a serious problem if they at least didn't know who Drew Carey was. But really they should be learning about their forefathers, i.e. Bob Barker.
Yeah. Some things you just can't let go. And I think it is, like you said, an institution. If you're not going to be at home watching The Price is Right, you need to go back to school. You're not sick enough, obviously.
Exactly. Nope. You're not. You know what I used to watch when I was younger? When I would say, besides like the shows you're really not supposed to watch, like Maury and Jerry Springer and stuff like that.
I was in it. Yeah.
I know. That was, the Cartoon Network, they had the kids Scooby-Doo on, and it would be on like every time I was sick, it would be on at like 11 a.m. That's when you knew it was on the dot. I faked being sick a lot, but it's a fun fact, everybody. But they had so they had, what was it? What's New Scooby-Doo, I think is the kid version.
The kids was a pup named Scooby-Doo.
A pup named Scooby-Doo, yes.
Yes.
A pup named Scooby-Doo, yes. A pup named Scooby-Doo would come, and it was a bop from 11 to 11:30, and then 11:30 to noon. And then noon was when Price is Right was on. I think that was the schedule.
A good little break that you had. You had to have your lineup set up. See, for children, if you're listening to this, which you shouldn't be, if you're listening to this, back in our day, you had to know what time things came on, because you couldn't just go stream them. Okay, you had to sit in front of the television and hope your favorite show came on, because if there was a programming change, you really didn't know about it unless you've been watching the TV Guide channel. But that's a conversation for another time.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's how I started my mornings, watching the TV Guide channel.
Yeah, listen, that's how we ended up in this profession. I mean, talking about TV, pretty much exclusively watching TV every day and letting it consume our lives has been something that I guess our parents instilled in us at a very early age. That's what you do. You got to find your kids' interest and then just let them have a television.
Yep.
And
exactly.
hope for the best. So we're kind of like Barbara, right? We have our traditions that we look back at and say, like, these are precious. But in this episode, she's learning that, all right, things change, but you find new traditions. And the new tradition that I think that she's picked up is drinking. Because Barbara she likes her glass of wine, but she's bobbing for apple schnapps at the bar by the end of this episode with Melissa. And that actually sounds amazing.
I'm so jealous that I did not think of that first.
Yeah, same.
Like, why is this not a regular tradition? This should replace bobbing for apples for everybody.
Yes, except children.
Well, not the children, but like they don't want to bob for apples anyway. So
go sit down. Go do kid stuff. The grown-ups are bobbing for schnapps.
Johnson's Vietnam story. I wish we could have listened to more of that. Unfortunate.
I do want to know what else was in that story, but that's the Barbara storyline. Find your traditions, whether and Halloween is one of those holidays that I would say the traditions always change. I grew up in a time where trick-or-treating was a thing, and you'd leave your house and you and the other kids would walk down the street to the other houses in the neighborhood and knock on the door. And then somewhere, like when I hit like around middle school, people started saying someone's putting razor blades in the candy, or they're switching the candy out. So then parents started getting really touchy, like, okay, we're not gonna let our kids do that. We don't want them getting snatched up. So then they started going to like convention centers and local multi-purpose places to go and like do trick-or-treating inside. And then I think after COVID, trunk or treats started happening, right? And you could just go around to people's cars and just like your family's there. It's changing all the time, Gia.
Okay. Also, though, trunk or treat back in my day was like a school fundraiser. That was like trick or treat light. That did not replace the OG trick or treating. And that's the thing. Like we cannot raise a generation that just thinks that trunk or treat is the end all be all of the trick or treat experience.
Yeah, I think these kids don't know that you could just, like, back when it was the wild west, you could just walk out of your home and covered in and wearing a sheet with a little paper bag and knock on someone's door, and they would just give you candy and be normal about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And there were no razor blades in any of my candy at any point in time.
Yeah, and I think the sample size is pretty decent to say that, the odds are you're probably not gonna get a razor blade,
Yeah.
especially if you're not eating any razor blade like shaped candies, like, okay, there might be something you could put a razor blade in, but stick to lollipops, like those you can obviously see if there was a razor blade in that. I'm just saying we are losing some recipes here, as Gia said. We agree with Barbara. Halloween is changing, but you do have to change with the times or you're gonna get left behind, so tough storyline for Barbara, but there were some other great moments in this episode as well. Starting with our cold open, we have a costume contest, and at Abbott, the kids have some very interesting costumes. One of the big standouts. Why was this girl dressed like Ice Spice?
Oh my God. And I feel like this is with the bigger access to media now that kids have. I think that this is an issue that's going to come up, is that kids wear costumes that are just too grown for them. It's not anything against them, or, like, kids are going to like what they like, but Ice Spice at an elementary school, Quinta had the right idea. I guess you say Janine had the right idea here for doing, like, having these spare costumes for kids to change into if it was too adult or too scary. But
right,
it's still it's fun to see the creative ideas that come from this from the minds of the Abbott Elementary writers.
Yeah, and Gia, you're pretty good at the Halloween costume thing. I'm not. The Halloween costumes are one of my blind spots. I never can come up with anything interesting at all. I'm always like, I don't know, to be a sock puppet. Like, I don't really know. But Gia, you've done some pretty iconic Halloween costumes in the past.
So my sister got married this Halloween, so that was more at the forefront of my mind for Halloween. I completely forgot to not forgot. I just decided I wasn't going to do a costume this year because I was putting all my effort into just like getting gifts together for her wedding. However, then Survivor 47 revealed the individual immunity necklace this year, and it was just clear as day. I knew what we had to do. A bat costume. It was just calling to me. So this year I was the Survivor 47 immunity necklace.
Yes, I've never had a good Halloween costume, not once in my life, and so
really?
I really want to. Yeah,
I
but
find that surprising.
Exactly. Me and Jenny were talking about this one day, and we're like, for us to be like kind of like a little unorthodox in our everyday behavior, you would think the costumes would be something I'd be into, but I'm just not that creative in my mind. Yeah. When I see other people do it, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I would love a head ass costume. Like, just give me something. Because I was so jealous of seeing some of the costumes they came up with. Emo, Mr. Johnson changed my life.
Yes.
And I will be emo Jimmy Butler next year. If I do nothing else, people are gonna be like, that costume is a year and a half old. I don't care. I will be emo Mr. Johnson from Abbott Elementary if I have to. I'm gonna pull it off because that was such a good costume, in my opinion.
It's the perfect costume. I'm sorry, that was incredible, and there was not enough attention paid to this costume this year.
No, them kids didn't get it. It wasn't for them. And
that
so
was for us specifically.
Right. Exactly. Gregory and Janine, they have their costume. And do you even remember? I'm sure you've seen Jurassic Park, but do you remember the DNA and mosquito?
No, I had no idea what any of this was. Like, I know the concept of Jurassic Park. It's like one of those movies that's always playing in the background when you're really little. So, it's just like a movie that everybody is aware of at the very least. But I am not paying attention to the plot of any of these movies enough to know what either of them mean. So the kids are definitely not going to get it, and probably most of the adults.
No. Even Melissa couldn't get in. She could get pretty much everything. I think Ava got it, but Ava was like, it still wasn't funny. But we had a lot of costumes to highlight in this episode. Creed as Dr. Seuss, or the Cat in the Hat, I guess I should say. Then pause. They did throw a little shot at Creed at one point because they were like, just like a cat, she's lazy. And I said, wow, is that Roz's thing now? Roz is the lazy librarian. I kind of like it.
I think that the main staff, the staff that we follow at least, just want to give people a lot of crap for not doing things as they want to. But also, like, reading for 90 minutes, let alone 3 hours, sounds exhausting to me. I can't
to these
blame her.
children. Yeah, no, I don't blame her. I don't blame her. I think that she's obviously working her way into the cast. I like whenever a character does this because there's always one of the main cast that asks kind of like, why is that person around? Because I think Janine comes in and Roz is one of the people that's really getting the ball rolling on this.
Yeah.
Gregory and Janine are head ass. They're getting that going. And Janine's like, who let you into the lounge?
Yes.
You know?
Oh, you just come to the staff. What was it? The staff lounge. You just come to the staff lounge now?
Right. Since when? And so I like it. I'm like, Roz, get comfortable. Don't go anywhere.
I'm shocked we did not get a like Mr. Morton trying to pipe in this episode. I was shocked by that.
Do you think Roz is replacing Mr. Morton as kind of our new foil? Because we've been seeing a lot more of her and a lot less of him.
I think we're going to get a switch off between the two because I don't think we've really had many episodes of them together. But I think that the show itself has caught on that we like seeing a lot of these side characters as well. Like I will for ever and a day, I will be defending Shanae with my life. I'm sorry. I love her. I love her character so much. We need to have her in as many episodes as they can possibly have. Whatever they're paying her, triple it. But I enjoy the moments that we get to have from her, and I think we can get the same thing with characters like Roz. She has a specific purpose in there. I love her as one of the core staff members, even if it's not part of this main cast. Play people like Mr. Morton. He has an obvious purpose in the show with his rivalry with Jacob here. And I think something that you said in a previous episode when we recapped is that we were kind of speculating that now that Gregory and Janine are a couple, that leaves Jacob open for more storylines. So I think that rivalry with Morton could be played up a bit more. We still have so many episodes left. So I think it's definitely within the realm of possibility that we're going to get something along the lines of like an episode about their rivalry, or just have that be more of a recurring plot in there too.
No, I really like that. You're right. Yeah. So with this costume contest, there's two actually. There's a costume contest at the school, and there's going to be one at Rubenstein's, the bar that they go to and frequent in the evenings. We see that Gregory and Janine are very interested in winning, but their costume isn't being well received by everybody. They're calling it head ass. Gia, your little headline here on our YouTube page for anybody who's watching says you hate a head ass couples costume. Is that true?
I do, because like I like a clever, like the Ash Wednesday that we saw.
That was
magnificent, intelligent, provocative, like art. You know, like we loved it. Ash Wednesday, it crosses multiple universes, multiple fandoms. It's relevant. Love it. Perfect couples costume. I love that. But when you have a couples costume that's too highbrow or too lowbrow, which is more than likely usually what we see here, and it's just like the theme is we're a couple so we can do this. Hate it. Hate the idea. Hate people. Like couples get such a pass because almost anything that you can do in Halloween as a duo is like passed off as a good costume, and that's just not correct. I'm sorry. You need to still put effort into it, and you need to do it with both partners involved in this. Like something like Barbie and Ken, especially from the movie, cute couples costume, right?
Yeah.
What I will give Janine and Gregory a pass because we love them and we know that this is very on brand for them, but the rest of the staff was 100% in the right here. This is a head ass couples costume.
Yeah. Ava found them on urbanfictionary.com under the definition of head ass as well. So a lot of people are thinking that this isn't the best costume in the world. The kids don't like it either. They lose the couples costume contest at Abbott, but they had some tough competition here. You've already pointed out that we had the GOAT, Muhammad Ali, as one of the judges. Mr. Johnson, of course, was one of the judges. But in the contest, we had a Corn and Scarecrow, which came in second place. But everyone lost to Melissa and Sweet Cheeks for what I would say is probably one of the best costumes of the whole episode as well.
Incredible work. The Sweet Cheeks costume itself was great, but getting Sweet Cheeks in a little lace front wig and a jacket, the leather jacket included in it, perfect. Perfection.
Yeah. I did like Gregory and Janine pushing back against Andrew and his statements. He was the GOAT, but he was not feeling the costume. And they said, what does he know? He can't even, he can't even draw. His drawings, so,
terrible.
Yeah, what does he know? Yeah. No, that was the poor Toucan kid. Hey, shout out to the Toucan kid. I loved him because he came up and asked him a direct question. If you're going to be from Jurassic Park for elementary school students, why would you not be a dinosaur? Make it make sense.
That part.
Make it make sense. Star of the week.
At least have one of you be a dinosaur and one of you be the people that get murdered by the dinosaur, right? Like one of the people in the... Yes. It's been a long time since I've seen Jurassic Park in its entirety. But
no. This kid had the right idea. You have several options. Dinosaurs and getting eaten by a dinosaur. Why you want to be DNA? Why would you want to be a mosquito? Makes no sense. As far as I'm concerned, this Toucan kid was my MVP of the week. Gia, my favorite kid of the episodes.
I agree. I think he is a great option. I think I'm still going to go with Andrew as the GOAT because that costume is still like permanently embedded in my brain, but it was great. Can I say my favorite tweet of this is before we made the move over to Blue Sky, but actually just like my favorite comment overall. I don't have the specific tweet saved, but I saw it a couple times referenced in other social media happenings in there. People thinking that Janine was a crab boil, that like without seeing the episode.
That's crazy.
People asking if she was a crab boil. It's still funny to this day.
Yeah, I love this episode. They lose that costume contest. They end up going to Rubenstein's and losing that costume. Nobody knows them, but they at least come to terms with they'd rather be head ass in their own little couple's bubble than trying to do what makes them fit in with everybody else. Because peanut butter and jelly just wasn't the costume that was going to win any contest.
Yeah, exactly. Peanut butter and jelly is too dry, been there, done that. Mr. DNA and the mosquito trapped in amber are too specific to head ass, as I will say. Mm-hmm. However, I will give props that like they are that corny couple. We kind of had a feeling this is where they were going to go anyway. Like that is exactly what they're going to be. And they own it. They know it.
Yeah. I liked it. The last thing from this episode I wanted to flag was the end scene that we get. So we get a lot of these. We always get a cold open, but we also get like an end during the credit scene. And Ava going to her car, but as Blade, and then having to defeat some of these, the undead, I guess I would call them, the vampire kids that she hired, I'm assuming, to come out during her trick-or-treating so that she could beat them with her real sword that looks fake.
Yes.
I love this so much because they were all black vampires. Like, I'm pretty sure one was Aaliyah from Queen of the Damned. I saw Blackula as well. I said, oh no, I really enjoyed this. The kids got into it. I thought this was a perfect ending for the episode. I don't think, and this might be controversial, but I think the last Halloween episode might have been better. Ava and Storm, our Thanos kid who's inedible. I think that one is my favorite, but this one was good too.
I have to agree. I'm glad you said it because I still loved this episode. This was not in any way a bad Abbott Elementary episode. However, if I'm picking between the Halloween episodes that we've got, I think that I remember a lot more of the costumes in the previous one. I thought the storyline was super funny for it. There had a lot of fun pop culture references in there. We still had a lot of that in this episode, but this one was a little more about the lesson of like Barbara coming to grips with like some of her traditions are not going to carry over in this new generation, and also Janine and Gregory as a couple realizing the kind of couple that they are. So I would say it's just like it's a more plot driven episode than the one we got previously, and that doesn't make it bad. It just makes it not the episode I like more. Like baby Mr. Johnson, I know he's not a baby, but little Mr. Johnson will always be a top tier costume for me.
Yeah, agreed. So that wraps up episode 4, and we will talk about episode 5 right after this brief break. So don't go anywhere. All right, we're back. Episode 5, Dad Fight. This is incredible. We get our guest star here, Langston Kerman, coming in as a concerned parent, and he is not happy with Gregory. The two are going to fight, or seemingly fight. And throughout the episode, we have a lot of suspense of like, what is Gregory going to do with that information? But our cold open starts off with Ava and the crew walking, and Melissa takes a tumble. And this was a hard fall, Gia, and this fall will follow Melissa throughout the entire episode because I'm pretty sure she broke something. Cracked something. I think after a certain age, you're just not allowed to fall anymore.
Yeah, there was definitely a sprain in there or something, because things with injuries like a sprain, they're made worse by you not treating them, like not going to the doctor, not resting or anything like that. So there's definitely something going on in there, but and this feels incredibly on brand with Melissa, but like she just refuses to go to the doctor, because if she goes for one thing, she's going to get diagnosed with a bunch of other things, and she's going to be brought out in a body bag and a bill attached to it.
Yeah, and she just won't admit that she busted her ass, and it happens sometimes. I'm a clumsy, okay? I'm a person who, if you see me, you probably just watched me trip, or I probably ran into something seconds before, or if you stare at me long enough, I'm probably going to fall down. That's just something about me, and I understand that. Sometimes I just have to acknowledge that I busted my ass. But people like Ava, they can't relate. She said, I never slip. I never fall. A lot of hoes give me their number, but they never call. And I'm like, throw some D's on that, okay? Ava, go, you do that. And I can't relate to any of that, because when I tell you I fall down all the time,
all the time.
But one thing I will do is go to the doctor, because I'm a big old baby. You know, if I hurt my shoulder, I'm at the doctor the next day. Like, somebody fix it. Fix it. I don't like to give me the drugs. I want painkillers. I want all that stuff. Even the expired ones, I'll take it.
I am way too much of a hypochondriac to not go to the doctor, or at least call the doctor the minute something is off. Like, for any reason, they have my number on speed dial. They are sick of me at this point, but go to the doctor, please.
Yeah. And it looks awful. You know, like her injury, her sprain, this bruise is looking awful. She's compensating.
Sorry, I did not need to see the close-up of her ankle.
No. And she's compensating and taking Jacob's old medicine to try to get over the pain. So even though she looks like she's back, she's not really back. It's just moving around her body until eventually she has to go to the nurse. Now, this was fun. I was like, okay, we got a nurse. I don't think we've ever seen a nurse before. Have we?
I think
not this nurse.
No, you know what? We did, but I think we've seen her at various different times, but I remember Janine was in the nurse's office in like the second episode where she gets like the light fixed, remember? And she passed out. Yeah. So like we have seen the nurse's office before, but it's definitely been a while. It's not a regular occurrence in here.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we might get a nurse now, but this nurse has no time for Melissa's nonsense. She said, go to the doctor and stop wasting my damn time. Okay. We did get a recurring kid though. The little boy who gives her the lollipop. He's like, hey, I hope this makes you feel better. I was like, I remember him. I think he was the one who he went to use the restroom when they were told not to, or something like that.
Yes.
And backed it up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. So good to see him back. Eventually Melissa will go to the doctor and get some real help and some crutches. And so things clear up very quickly for her, but it was a tough time to be suffering from an injury, because there are bets to be placed. Okay. People are betting on what's exactly going to happen with Gregory and this fight with this parent. So the story here is that Gregory has a student named Jabari. And Jabari seems like a good student. He needs a little help in math, but he's a big fan of Mr. Eddie. He's like, oh yeah, I love your cup. It's so colorful. Bet. Do you want a pencil? He gives him a pencil. Gregory also speaks to Jabari's mom, and she tells Gregory how much of a good role model he is, because Jabari's dad is a little, he's not the best role model. We'll just say that. And it seems like everything's on the up and up. But later on, we see Jabari's dad. And like I said, Langston Kerman is here. And he has a big issue with Gregory, specifically giving out pencils and whatnot to his kid. It gets very tense very quickly, Gia.
Yeah. Okay. First and foremost, love the name Jabari. Like, excellent name. Yeah. I love it. Yes. Fantastic. Yeah. Second of all, I was really worried going into this episode that I was not going to like it because it just felt like a very tense premise. Yeah. I was so wrong. So wrong, because there are so many funny moments. Everybody involved is acting their ass off here, and I love it. But the premise of, I think this could be applied to a lot of situations, but just parents being jealous of the role teachers have in their kids' lives. Especially for a situation like this where Jabari's parents are not together, so he probably doesn't see his dad as often as he sees Mr. Eddie. That's just how it works sometimes. And that can lead to a lot of parents being insecure about their relationship with them and taking it out on the parents, taking it out on the staff member, the teacher, the person that they have a bond with. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. This feels like a very realistic struggle in there. What feels very unrealistic is that everyone just seems to be okay with the fact that this fight is going to happen, and they need to put bets almost immediately on how much of Gregory's ass is Jabari's dad going to kick.
Oh yeah, no one's picking Gregory in this fight except maybe Janine. She keeps saying like Gregory is strong. I promise, he is. He's strong.
She did not say she would pick him in the fight, though. That is like she never confirms. Like, she says, yes, Gregory is strong, but she doesn't say, oh, he would definitely win it. Even she doesn't believe it.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about Gregory in this episode as well. I'm glad you pointed out though Jabari's name. So Jabari is the name of Maya on Girlfriends. That's her son's name on that show. But her husband's name is Darnell. And I just thought that, I was like, Quinta, are you giving a shout out to Girlfriends here with Darnell and Jabari being on this show? I thought that was so cool. So. Yeah, I was like, okay, Quinta, this is why we like the Black creators. Give a shout out to, some of our Black themes from the past, So yeah, it's very tense. I'm kind of like you. I was like, where is this going? But this was one of the funniest episodes that I've seen, period, of Abbott, because it is just like one-liner after one-liner, and they're happening so fast. For one, when Gregory tries to send Jabari away, and I think Darnell says he doesn't have to go away. He can see Hard Conversations. We watch Power together. And I was like, wait. Wait, what?
I'm sorry. If that is not a single dad move right there,
fair.
I don't know what is. Like, I'm sorry. That is true to life right there.
I'm pretty sure the first time I saw Scarface, I was with my dad. Like, I'm pretty sure. Boys in the Hood, I watched with my dad. Yeah, all the good movies I watched with my dad for sure.
I will just say, I love my dad very much, but when I was really young, I will still to this day never let him forget that we watched Hardball when I was like 6, and the last 5 minutes. Actually, I was probably like 8, but traumatized. The last 10 minutes just emotionally destroyed me for the rest of my life. And I'm 30 now, or almost 30, and still have not forgotten it. I'm like, this was messed up. Wait a minute.
Oh yeah, Hardball got us all. Shout out to G Baby. We'll never forget. I'll never hear that song or I Love It When You Call Me Big Papa the same ever again. Okay, I still look at right every time. So yeah, this is a dad move for sure. Yes. Single dad move for sure. Specifically, I don't even think it's just single dads. I think anytime you leave a kid at home,
it's a dad move in general. Yeah. This is definitely. It's not just single dads. Like, this is. I'm pretty sure my dad was with my stepmom when I watched this movie for the first time. So it's definitely just a dad move in there. It's like a rite of passage.
Right. Gregory does not get to determine what Jabari sees. He's not the dad. And Darnell is very intent on making sure that doesn't happen. So when they're going back and forth, he's just like, hey, don't give my son a pencil anymore, period. And Gregory says, okay. And then he mumbles a little bit to the camera, like, I guess I might give him a pen next time. And when Jabari's dad, Darnell, says, what, you think you Deadpool now? You looking at the camera? I was done. That was such a good line.
That was good.
I thought they were going to fight right then and there, but he had to wait until he got a haircut, because according to Ava, there's nothing more dangerous than a Black man with a fresh haircut. And so the fight is scheduled for 3 p.m. tomorrow. And the rest of the teachers, although this does sound like something they should be concerned about, they're more concerned in making these bets. Everybody wants to know if Gregory is going to win them any money. They got to buy a new Keurig, Gia.
Mm-hmm. And maybe they should find another way to pay for that Keurig. Because this is it's kind of a rough go for Gregory, because he is dedicated. He is committed to this fight not happening, right? He does not want to participate in the fight. He thinks it's crazy that everybody is even considering the idea that he should fight his dad, let alone encouraging it. But we know this stuff. This is on brand for all of them, including Barbara, who we learned a very fun backstory tidbit at the very end of this episode, which, again, no one in this cast is more gangster than Barbara here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this guy Darnell, he had a run-in with Barbara last year because Jabari used to be in her class and she swung on him. So she's not like Gregory. She about that action.
She's built different. I'm sorry.
She is, and I think a lot of the teachers and teacher adjacent people, looking at you, Tariq, are also kind of in that same mold because they're down. They're like, hey, you got to make this fight happen. Mr. Johnson thinks Gregory's going to lose. People are taking bets against him. Jacob seems concerned. He says, I can't lose Gregory like this. This is exactly the plot to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he can't afford Bel-Air. You can't see Gregory moving across the country to go stay with his auntie and uncle in California. So they got to shut this down. But it's okay. It's okay. Gregory talks to all the people that he finds, all of his confidants. He even calls his dad. Were you shocked to see his dad in this episode? Because it's been a while.
I'm so glad we got to see his dad. This seems like the perfect moment to bring back his dad into the fold. Like, I love that he's a recurring character. I love the acting that goes on, and I love their rapport with one another. It's so good. This was the perfect, especially because this does explore a lot of Black male dynamics in this episode in particular. I think it's the perfect time to bring in his dad. And obviously the main friendship that we see with Gregory here is with usually with Jacob, but seeing Tariq trying to have Gregory let him in and be his friend as well, also hilarious.
Yeah, because Tariq hears this exchange and he just kind of inserts himself into it. And he's like, I got Gregory's back. Okay. So they're going to come up with a plan. And the plan is absurd to say the least. Jacob is going to interrupt the fight by trying to fight Gregory before he fights Darnell. And that fight is supposed to deter Darnell from fighting Gregory. Is that what's going on? Like, he's supposed to see how strong Gregory is and then cower in the back?
Yes. I don't know why they ever thought that this plan might work in any capacity.
Yeah, I was like, what is the goal here? But if it does get rowdy, Gregory has some backup. Tariq is showing up with CSI and Miami. And so, with that, how could he possibly lose this fight? The fight gets ready to happen. And I love that it was Ava who came and got Gregory for the fight. Like, she kind of she's like, ding, 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 it's time. Because she's got money riding on this thing. Before it begins, Jacob does the plan. He shows up and he said, Gregory Eddie, I heard you've been saying bad stuff about gay people. And now the entire cast is like, what? Gregory? Homophobia? Wow.
Tariq saying you've got some regressive views, man.
You got some regressive views, man. I mean, everybody sounded, because even Janine was like, Gregory, oh my God.
She's like, I didn't know that.
Had she known. So now he's going to get his ass beat for Jabari, for Darnell, for Darnell's cousin, who they think might be gay, and also for Frank Ocean because Frank Ocean.
Yeah, there's no explanation needed for that one.
Nope, that's enough. So when the fight's about to jump off, Tariq has already prepped Gregory with 6 Capri Suns all mixed up because that does something. And Gregory goes into this and knows, okay, I can't do this. If we fight, Jabari's not going to look at me the same. If I win the fight, he's definitely not going to look at me the same because I'm the guy who beat up his dad. How is this kid going to come and learn by me? But if I get beat up, then, this kid might lose respect for me even, or maybe it's just going to be a thing like, some kids just aren't able to look and process violence between people like that. It can be very traumatizing for him. So he shuts it down. He's like, you can hit me if you want, but he ain't gonna see me hit you. Like, if anything, this is gonna make a mark on your perception than mine. Like, I'm gonna be okay. So hit me if you want to. Darnell ends up standing down and says he'll be back on report card day. And if the grades start falling off, he is going to beat Gregory's ass next time. But he made it through. And Janine's proud. Were you proud?
I guess. You know,
like he could have fought.
Yeah, he could have tried. But what did you think about his dad's advice to him? Because I had some thoughts in there about how the Eddie men don't fight. They don't start fights, but they will finish a fight. Yeah.
I think that's kind of like, that's pretty common. I like a lot of people like, hey, I won't start the violence, but if you come at me, I will defend myself.
Yes.
But that is an interesting point of view because sometimes you don't have time to fight back. You know, sometimes if you don't jump on the fight when the fight's about to happen, it only takes one hit sometimes to really take you out, Gia. So did you not agree with this philosophy?
Oh, I agreed. I agreed with it. I thought it was great. It seemed to be going in one direction, and the bait and switch was real in that moment. It was so funny though. He said it with conviction. Like I felt the spirit of my parents like jump out at that one, because I feel like I've gotten very similar advice in there. You know, like we don't start fights, but if someone puts their hands on you, it's up to you to finish it. And like, don't call me back until you win.
Right. Oh, please. I definitely got that speech from my dad. Like, if you're gonna fight, you better win. And don't come back until you do. My dad, when he was younger, he was a fighter because he was a smaller guy, he was shorter. And so he said, I used to have to fight because, I think it might run in the family, but he kind of got a trash talking mouth, that guy. And so when you're trash talking, you're a little guy, you gotta be able to defend yourself sometimes. And so he used to fight a lot. So when I was growing up, he would be like, don't start the fight. I started a lot of fights in my day, but if someone hits you, hit them back. And that has been something that has been passed down from black generation to black generation to black generation from
a proverb at this point.
Yeah, it really is. But it's also not the best thing to tell people these days, especially kids. Because kids will say, all right, you hit, like, that will escalate things. Like, you hit them and then they punch you and like, it's not the same. So we have to be careful when we put that messaging out there. But it is out there to defend yourself. You know what I'm saying?
We don't condone violence. We do condone you protecting yourself.
Self-defense. Right. Exactly. So self-defense to an extent, right? Make sure you don't get your ass whooped. That is the primary concern here. But you got to live to fight another day, So it seemed like everybody learned a lesson. There is a C plot. There is a C plot in this story. And this is a fun one. Barbara borrowed $5 from Janine and just won't pay her back.
Oh my God. It was so funny. It was great. Fantastic little side plot in there. Because Janine is the type of person that would remember that, right?
Yeah. What
is your opinion on this? Who is in the right here, if anyone is in the right here?
So I definitely wanted to stop down on this a little bit, because has this ever happened to you? Have you ever loaned somebody money and they just like forget, or just either forget or pretend they don't know, and then just continue living their life flaunting all their cash in front of you like nothing happened?
Yes, but I feel like they should have upped the ante a little bit for me to really feel the rage in here. Because $5, like, you can get me that back in, like, buy me a coffee one time. Like, I'm one of those people that can be like, if I lend you money, you can, or
buy me a shot.
I usually don't lend people money, but like, if I get you something, or like treat you to something, you can, instead of paying me back, you can treat me with a near similar, like, treat of equal or lesser value. Like, it'll add up in a way, like, you drive us, I'll pay for like part gas or something like that.
Right. Or parking, or like you get the Uber, so I bought you the first drink at the bar, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So the stuff like that doesn't bother me as much. But when it's like, okay, I lent you like $40, or I covered you for this thing, and then you just forget, like, $40 is a lot of money. I feel like for this one, Barbara could genuinely have forgotten that Janine gave her $5, or like not even understood that the $5 in question would be important enough for her to have to pay her back. So, I mean, it's definitely a relatable thing to experience and to like have to go through. But I'm a little more understanding of Barbara in this particular instance?
So I don't loan people money for the simple fact like that. I have been burned so many times, like when I was younger. Like, right, I'm very much a giving person. If you ask me for something, like, hey, you want to borrow this? Got you. You got to borrow this? Got you. You want to borrow this? Got you. I don't loan people money because if I loan you money, that means I expect it back. If someone asks me to let them borrow an amount of money, I will not give it to them unless I know that I don't mind losing it. Like if I'm giving you this $20 because I don't need it, and if you never give it back to me, I don't care. Right? Yeah. So you might say, I'm going to borrow it. I promise I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to say, okay, cool. And I'll give you the $20.
Yeah.
If you pay me back, then you now are on the list of people that I know that if I give the money to, they will pay me back. If you do not pay me back, I will never forget that you didn't pay me back. And I will never give you another dime. And that's just how I operate.
I agree with that because for like, again, not the $5 situation, but something like 20 or more, let's say, like I will remember that. But also, I am a person that hates to owe people money. So like I cannot stand the idea that I owe somebody money somewhere. Like, even if they say it's no big deal, like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, I got this round of drinks. Like, I'm like, no, I need to pay you back immediately, either with a Venmo or buying the next round of drinks or something. But I am not going to end this night thinking that I owe somebody money. Okay, you are getting some equivalent of what you purchased for me. So I hate that feeling, and it bothers me that other people don't hate that feeling as much as I hate that feeling.
Yeah, that's probably more annoying to me as well. It's like, why doesn't it bother you more that you're in debt to me? Because to me, if it was the other way around, I would be doing whatever it took to make sure that you knew that, like, okay, I not only did I appreciate you giving me this, but also I need to give it back to you right now, so you know that like I'm not trying to get over on you. I'm not,
or so. Like, I will give them like a date, like, okay, I borrowed this amount of money from you. I get paid this day, so you will get it this day or something like that.
I might even sprinkle a little bit on top, Yeah, I'm with you on that. So for me, if I want Janine a little bit. I gave you the $5. You don't have to give it back. You're flaunting it in front of me. I would never ask you for it back. But if you ever ask me for $5 again, the answer is no.
Yeah.
And it's not, and I'm not going to be like, hey, like, I'm not going to feel any type of way until then. It's just like, hey, no, because I know that this is now going to be a recurring thing and I can't count on you. And I also don't have the balls, apparently, to ask for the $5 back. Because Janine, what the hell? Barbara asked her for $5 again in this episode. She does it again.
Yeah. And other plot twist to this, that Janine owes Jacob $200 and he's
$300.
$300. And Jacob is just accepting of that. And he gives her more money. So basically what we learned is that all of these people need to practice boundaries with one another because the chain of command here is completely off kilter. Like this trickle down economics nonsense is out of control.
Yeah. Nope. That's the best way I can put it too. Stop lending people money if you're not afraid. If first of all, don't give somebody something that you cannot live without, right? If this is your last $100 and you're giving it to somebody, that's a mistake. That is fiscally irresponsible. Take care of yourself first. If you want the money back, ask for it back. If you don't want it back, then don't ask for it back. But do not sit around seething because they won't read your mind that you want this money back. You know what I'm saying? These people aren't responsible. Also, pay people back. If someone loans you something, give it back. Don't be a jerk. And so, the moral of the C plot here is that Janine, stand up for yourself. Literally, establish some boundaries. Barbara's your GOAT, but you're not an ATM.
Yeah.
So, stand up for yourself.
Yeah, none of you make enough money to be loaning people money out like that.
Not at all. These are teachers. Stop it. Stop the shenanigans. Gia, those are our episodes. What did you think?
I loved them. They were great. Yeah. I was a little worried going in that I wasn't going to like them. I think the Halloween episode last season or 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago. Yeah, I think it was 2 seasons,
I keep forgetting season 3 was so short. But the Halloween episode 2 seasons ago really set a high bar. And the description for Dad Fight made me a little concerned that I wasn't going to like this one as much. And I think the previous 2 episodes set a very high bar for me, but these episodes were so good as well. I very much enjoyed it. I forgot also, I remembered in the middle of us talking about this episode, another favorite moment of mine from the Halloween episode, Wakanda Forever, or just Wakanda for the Day. I was not prepared. Chappell, I was not prepared for this face reveal.
Adding one white student to the Abbott Elementary
incredible
school
work.
has done so many numbers for and just it's so done wonders for us here because the little white kid dressed as the Black Panther,
incredible.
There are no words. There are no words, right? Who the writer who came up with that, whoever it was, gold star for you. Incredible. I hope you get the whole Emmy, because that was great. That was so good.
Incredible work. I was not prepared for it. And I keep remembering, I know there is one white student in this class, so I should have been prepared for. I was not prepared. It was so funny. But yeah, we had a lot of great moments here, a lot of great dynamics. I'm excited for the next round of episodes as well, but it was fantastic.
Yes. So make sure you all tune in next time. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I think there's an episode.
No. So next episode. So we have I think 2 bye weeks because we have one episode coming up that's airing today actually. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the other episode is airing like a week or 2 from now.
Oh yeah. Oh, so the November 13th episode will be the deli. And then there will be the winter break 2-part episode on December 4th. So we actually have a episode, a bye week, a double episode, and then what seems like our mid-season finale, episode 9 on January 8th. What are we doing? January 8th? There's no way that's correct. That cannot be correct.
What am I going to do in December? Oh my God.
What are we going to do for a month? Well, you know what we're going to do here on Recap.
I know
we got holiday content coming your way.
I know what we're doing, but they don't know what we're doing yet.
Yes. But we have holiday content coming your way on Recap Kickback. So you got to tune in because these next couple weeks, we're not going to have a lot of Abbott coverage. Okay. So let's just pretend that's why we slowed down on the release of this one because we won't be having another one drop for about 3 weeks. Check us out when we come back for the next 2 episodes of Abbott Elementary, our recaps here on Recap Kickback. Until then, Gia, tell the people where they can find you and what you're working on.
Yes. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and now Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
At Classically Gia, on all of them, at Classically Gia for all of my reality TV ideas and shenanigans. On Silent Podcast, I'm doing the regular recaps of Survivor 47 on my podcast. I don't know about that, but recently we did a very special episode here where me and 2 of my favorite podcasters in the world, Naomi Calhoun and Nicole Horn, made Hear Me Out cakes for who we want to see on Survivor 50. And it is 2 hours of incredible bliss. I'm sorry. It's just an instant boost of serotonin to my week. I had a fantastic time. This will be the first of many times we do the Hear Me Out cake. So I was very excited about that. And I'm doing my regular recaps of Survivor 47 on Inside Survivor as well with my good friend, Christine Palin.
Yeah. Can't wait to check out the Hear Me Out Cake podcast. I will be listening, as you know. Love those guys over there of the Silent Podcast crew with Gia. And then, of course, you can check me out here on Recap Kickback. Of course, I'm on RHAP doing a bunch of stuff, talking about the summit, talking about other various topics as well, joining Sasha for some content. But right here, we've got so much coming your way. Although we're going to have some breaks for Abbott, we're not going to take any breaks for Recap Kickback. So tune in every week to make sure that you get what we have coming for you and what we have in store here on recapkickback.com. So until next time, class is out, but you have to catch us here for Abbott Elementary, a Recap Kickback. Catch you all later. Bye. I've been trapped behind this wall, Maria. Isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreamers. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.